Good evening and welcome to Midweek Connection. I'm so glad you're here. What a wonderful week it has been already. We had a little bit of a technical mishap on Monday that kept us from being able to get together and meditate live, but I got my meditation in. I hope you got your meditation in. Make sure you take your meditation. Take it just like the doctor ordered. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being on this journey. I'm very grateful for this evening's Tao Te Ching verse, and it is a wonderful verse that I think is going to bring out some things that are important, at least I know have been important for me. As I've navigated through really understanding Tao, it's helped me to understand me. It's helped me to manage my emotions. It's helped me to manage my life just in general. And I believe the Tao way is the natural way. It's the way of God. That's what I believe. And I believe that if you will flow with the principles we find in the Tao, that it will make you a better Christian, it will make you a better Muslim, it'll make you a better Jew, it'll make you a better Buddhist, a better Hindu, whatever your religious brand might be and your religious affiliation might be. This will make you a better New Thought person, a better unity person, a better science of mind person. The principles in Tao, to me, are the principles of how nature works and how we should respond to nature. A lot of times we live in reaction because we have not realized our power to respond to the world. And so I find that the Tao helps me with not being reactive. It helps me to be responsible, a responsible world citizen, someone who's able to embody the divinity that I am. As I mention to you all the time, you are the divine presence walking around in human form. What are you doing about that? You are the God presence here. If God is ever going to be seen in human form, it will be seen through you. And so what is it that you are exuding out, emanating out, putting out into the world? The radio station of your life. What kind of music's it playing? Are you being a blessing to the world? I believe you are, and I believe you can be if you're not. If you hear a little bit of thunder and lightning, by the way, it's that time of year in Florida where the lightning strikes and the thunder rolls. There it is, just heard it. But it's all beautiful, and it's all a part of living life in nature. You know, speaking of that, let me say this about storms, because maybe someone is watching this right now who's going through a storm, okay? The storm does not come to stay. The storm comes to clear. The storm doesn't come to stay. The storm comes to clear. The wind blows and it knocks all of the leaves loose that were too dead, and even including the ones that were just barely hanging on and just sapping the life out of you. The lightning strikes and it literally clears the air. It detoxifies the air. It's necessary to have lightning in the air because the electrical surge, the electrical charge helps to ionize, it helps to neutralize the toxins that are in the air. It's necessary. It's all necessary. And the thunder is not actually, it's a result of the clearing. And so if you notice in your life, the sound, it gets loud and chaotic and sometimes feels overwhelming. It is necessary that the clearing take place in your life so that you can be free from the toxicity. So you allow the storm to come, even if you may not feel comfortable. In fact, I've grown the most in my most uncomfortable times. And the comfortability, let me say this, is God is not concerned. I used to say it this way. God is not as much concerned about your comfort as God is concerned about your growth. Not as much concerned about your comfort as God is concerned about your growth. And God's not, I don't believe that the pure presence, that divine, is trying to make us uncomfortable. But sometimes the uncomfortable moments, again, are the moments that cause us to grow the most. It's possible. So when you allow the storm, it's gonna rage anyway, okay? The storm is going to come. When you accept the storm and you accept all of the benefits that come with it, Now you're more keenly aware of the benefits of the storms in your life. Anyway, that was for somebody maybe, and maybe it was just for me, although I don't feel like I'm in a storm except for a natural storm that's taking place outside. Let's look at Tao verse 24, but before we do that, let's take a few moments to just get centered in prayer. We just allow ourselves to settle in for a few moments with all that's going on in the world around us. We still offer up thanksgiving and gratitude. There's a sense down deep within us that ultimately all is well, that we are well. We realize that we are irrevocably and eternally connected to the power of God, divinity, and this is why we are that divine presence in the world. Nothing can separate us from that. So in these few moments together, my prayer of surrender is, Spirit of truth, take from me what I don't need. Bring to me everything I do need. My mind, my will, my emotions, my intellect, all of my beliefs are surrendered. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk on the water wherever you'd call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander. And my faith is made stronger in your presence. So for this guidance, for this healing, for this direction, for protection, for the teaching that comes from divine presence, I say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so it is. And so it is. Whew, already feels good in this room. Let's look at Tao verse 24. And I'm looking at a translation that I found online. I liked this one a little more, so I wanted to share from this one. Just reading from one translation this evening. Those who stand on their toes become unsteady. Those who take long steps cannot keep the pace. Those who show off ultimately don't shine. Those who are self-righteous are not prominent. Those who boast, not respected. Those who praise themselves do not prevail. To the way, such people are surplus provisions and useless actions. They are rejected by many. Therefore, those who follow the way do not remain with them. Boasting. I'll tell you what I've come to realize about boasting, about a proud look, about self-righteousness. What I've come to notice about it is it actually, it's a way to, it's a defense mechanism. Most people who act the most know-it-all-ish, if that's a terminology, if it's not, I just coined it. Those who act the most know-it-all, honestly, must not know it near as much as they want you to think they know, because when you really are aware and you're self-aware, you lose the need to be seen. You lose the need to boast. You lose the self-righteousness. When you come into your isness, you're no longer seeking external affirmation and confirmation, and you begin to let go. You begin to surrender. Most of the people that I've ever met who are self-righteous and they show off really are scared. They're afraid. They're insecure. They don't feel safe in their own skin. When you feel safe within your own true self, you shake off the need to boast. In fact, most of the time, people who boast the most have the least, and they are ungrateful. And it's really sad to watch that, because it is unconscious. It's someone who is asleep. And those who sleep really don't get to experience what we can experience in the awakened moments when we're aware of our true self. And it's really interesting that this is our verse this week, because our focus at First Unity Spiritual Campus is on the chakras, and we're in a series right now titled Shocking Your Chakras. And the third chakra is the solar plexus. And from the solar plexus is where we get our sense of self-esteem. We get our sense of isness. Our I amness is felt in that space. The guts, I call it, the guts to really live your true original self. And so it's interesting that this would be the verse for this week. So I wrote a couple of things down. I wanted to share them with you. Number one, change your life by living an intentional state of gratitude. Change your life by living an intentional state of gratitude. I cannot stress this enough, and you all know I talk about love, I talk about peace, and probably talk about gratitude more than anything else. Non-interference comes into play. Radical humility is a theme also of my life and teachings or sharings. I don't know if I teach anything, but I certainly share. And I believe that when we practice gratitude, there's an automatic thing that happens is we begin to master a life of gratitude. And as I've mentioned to you before, to master something means to be able to do it without thinking or do it within an instant. So when we live a life of intentional gratitude, we start to emphasize a life of gratitude, which means we start to focus in on magnify the things we're grateful for. Someone who does that loses the time to show off, because now you know that there's really nothing to show off. You're too busy being grateful. Instead of bragging about what you have, you're so grateful for what you have that you don't have time to brag. And it moves you from arrogant, and it moves you from an ambition-driven human being toward a person of meaning and a person of thanksgiving, which makes you more kind, more compassionate, more humble. It makes you more easy to live with too, by the way. None of us care about being around a know-it-all. Someone who's constantly boasting about what they have, trying to show you their newest toy. That gets annoying after a while. And you know why? Because the person of Tao and the Tao way, the natural way, is gratitude, not an attitude of arrogance. So when I practice gratitude, I begin to flow with the Tao. Emphasize gratitude most in your life, and you will automatically connect deeper to the Tao flow. Have a brain, liver, kidney, lung, heart. Even have a fingernail and toenail appreciation day. Seriously, I'm not even joking when I say it. If you can't think of anything else to meditate on, while you're sitting in meditation, you can sit up straight, you can straighten the spine, you can soften the shoulders, you can close your eyes, and you can begin to appreciate your body. Seriously, you can have a gratitude meditation that focuses on nothing but the breathing in and the breathing out. Somewhere somebody is struggling with emphysema, with asthma. Some people are still struggling with COVID and COVID pneumonia, and they're struggling to breathe. Most of us don't acknowledge or appreciate the things that happen on a regular basis, the miracles that are taking place, until we don't experience them anymore. We have a heart attack, and then we start to pay attention to our cardiovascular system. We have an asthma attack, and then we start to pay attention to our lungs. Or you have pneumonia, and then you start to pay attention to the lungs. But these lungs are breathing for you 24 hours a day without you giving direction. The heart is beating for you constantly, consistently, every single day since before you were even brought into this world, doing it without you asking, pleading, managing, or forcing. It's happening automatically, and many of us don't stop to appreciate it until something is wrong with it. And I'm saying we need to shift that. We need to change that. Take just a moment, in fact, right now where you're seated, whatever it is you're doing, driving, don't close your eyes if you're driving. If you're on the treadmill, don't close your eyes. Just stay on the treadmill. But focus in for just a moment. I'm serious when I do this, okay? And I know some people will laugh automatically. But imagine your life without toenails. I'm being serious, because many of us depreciate the value of our feet. I know people who call their feet ugly, and they're sitting there depreciating the very thing that carries you around everywhere you go. And then we wonder why our feet hurt so bad. I'm serious. We should appreciate. So close your eyes for just a moment. Focus in on your toenails. And appreciate the toenails. I appreciate you. I guarantee you, if one of your toenails got ripped off, or if it ever has, you're very aware of the necessity of it. So why not have a gratitude practice that focuses in on the liver? You can't see the function of the liver, but without the liver, you would die. You can't see the function of the kidneys, but without the kidneys, you would die. You can't see the function of the digestive system, the stomach. You can't readily see the functioning of it, and so often you forget that it's there. Have an appreciation day for your body and all of the functions from the body. And notice the switch in your life. When you wake up in the morning, give thanks for the bed that you were sleeping on. Give thanks for the sheets and the blankets. Give thanks for the pillows. Give thanks for the very simple things that we take for granted in this life. Offer up thanks for air conditioning during hot days. Offer up thanks for heat during cold days. Offer up thanks for the swallow of water as you take a drink. Be thankful for the cup. Somebody created the cup. Somebody formed that cup. Be thankful for the chair I'm sitting on at this very moment. Someone built this. Somebody utilized their creativity to build this chair that is now supporting me. Make a practice, a habit of gratitude, and watch the self-righteousness begin to peel away. Watch the arrogance begin to peel away. Watch the need to show off and the need for external praise begin to go away. Number 2, shift from boasting to hosting. Now, I've talked already a little bit about boasting and arrogance, but shift from boasting to hosting. And let me explain. In every moment, and I believe it was Wayne Dyer who said this, in every moment you can be a host to God or Tao or a slave to the ego. In every moment, the way Wayne Dyer said it, I believe, and I'm pretty sure he's the one who said it. In every moment you can be a host to God or a host to your ego or a slave to your ego. And I would say go from boasting to hosting. Go from boasting about the things you have and the accomplishments you've made and your credentials and who you know. All of that stuff is just, it's a very big sign. When I see people who brag about who they know, brag about where they've been, brag about their resume, brag about their credentials, I know this is somebody who hasn't settled into their isness. Because when you've settled into your isness, the only credentials you really need is your own isness. The only knowing you really need to know is you. Notice with intention when you start to boast about your accomplishments, what you have, your credentials, your resume, and choose intentionally to abstain from the boasting and instead retreat back into the blessed humility and gratitude practice. Practice radical humility and simply see the Tao at work in everything and in everyone, instead of boasting about your own spiritual growth. I find that interesting because the more spiritual I become, the less I'm interested in even talking about spirituality, honestly. I know it's a part of my work to do in the world, and so I will continue to do what I am passionate about doing and enjoy doing. But the less I want to hear myself talk. The more I advance spiritually, the more I expand, the more I just really want to humbly go off into the mountains somewhere and meditate. I could sit for hours and hours on end Now, I'm not saying I don't enjoy being around people. I'm not saying that I don't get recharged in some ways from social environments, but I used to be, that's how I recharged. I needed to be around people. I got to be around people. I just need to be around somebody. I need to be around people. And now I can retreat to my own self, by myself, in the quiet. And I believe it's because I've settled into my own isness. I'm okay with me. I didn't used to be okay with me. I actually love me and like me now. And as a result of that, I am just fine with practicing a sense of retreat. When you find yourself starting to boast, I do this as a practice. When you find yourself starting to boast about your credentials, who you know, what you have, where you've been, retreat. Just be intentional and notice it. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Just notice it and retreat back into a practice of radical humility and simply see the Tao at work and be grateful. Be grateful. One of the reasons, and someone asked me recently, they came up after a service at First Unity and they said, "Oh my gosh, everything is just so great since you've gotten here. Your message was so fantastic. Just loved it. You were funny. You were fun to listen to. You're just fantastic." And my response was, "I am grateful to be here and we're having fun." And they said, yes, I know, but I'm complimenting you. And honestly, folks, I got to tell you, I deeply appreciate it, but I was not lying when I said, I am honored to be here and we're just having fun. Because ultimately, this is not about me. This is about this message of freedom getting out into the world. And I know for a fact that what I do as a speaker and as a spiritual leader, it requires a massive team of people doing all kinds of wonderful things. I'm just a player on the team. And that's not a false humility, but it is a reality that the Tao is at work in a play in all of us. As a collective, how beautiful it is to notice that, to recognize it, to awaken to that. It's powerful. It's beautiful. This brings freedom from self-importance and the imbalance of finding it necessary to be praised, because you find the beauty that the Tao is. So, change your life by being intentionally in a state of gratitude and shift from boasting to hosting, from boasting with ego to hosting God. I'm going to read the Tao verse one more time. Those who stand on their toes are not steady. Those who take long steps cannot keep the pace. Those who show off do not shine. Those who are self-righteous are not permanent or prominent. Those who boast won't be respected. And those who praise themselves, they won't prevail. To the way, or Tao, such people are surplus provisions and really have useless actions. They are rejected by so many. Therefore, those who follow the way, they just don't remain with them. Pretty simple. Practice intentional state of gratitude and shift from boasting to hosting God. I love you all so much. I'm so grateful that you're on this journey with me. Thank you for being a part of this community. Thank you for continuing to support. Those who are sustaining partners, you make it possible for us to continue doing this. I know that since we've made a move, we've seen a little bit of a drop-off in partnerships and sustained financial support. But you know what? You have to give where you feel you're getting fed. So I encourage you to do that. But if this place feeds you, if this ministry feeds you, just consider making an exchange through financial support. Just consider it. And those of you who do, thank you for that. And those of you who don't, thank you for being you, and thank you for being on this journey. You are just as important as anybody who is a sustaining partner. But I will tell you, those who are sustaining partners really do help us to continue doing this great work in the world with One Love Consciousness Movement. All right, y'all. I hear that music getting started, so I'm going to get up out of here. Now go and make it a great evening, because you